Ninjago 2022 is coming around the corner, and to help keep up with the hype coming with this upcoming installment, here are my hopes for Ninjago 2022. My first hope is that Andrew Francis, the new voice of Cole, finds his footing for voicing the role. We got a taste of what he sounds like as Cole in the core shorts, in the Virtues of Spinjitzu or core shorts. And he sounds pretty good, but I don't feel like he's found his footing just quite yet. I feel like he's still a little uncomfortable in the role right now, but hopefully as time goes on, he can learn how to get the voice right, because I know he said in the interview that he doesn't want to be considered a Kirby clone. But there is one issue with this statement. When you have a voice that is so iconic, and that this voice has to be instilled into another actor, you almost in a sense have to copy what the original actor did. It's like if Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, gets recasted by someone else. They would have to basically kind of copy what Tom did, otherwise it just wouldn't feel right. It just wouldn't feel right. And in a sense, Andrew is kind of forced to kind of do a Kirby-esque voice just to not alienate a lot of fans because of the voice difference. I mean, the voice can't be completely on point, but it can be pretty darn close to what Kirby sounds. But there are some moments where he does sound like Moro and not like Cole at all. So hopefully by the time this upcoming installment is out, he will have found his footing, and hopefully he'll give us a much more natural sounding Cole voice. Now, speaking of the voice of Cole, I believe there must be an in-canon explanation for why the voice sounds a little different. Now, they did something similar, as we all know, with the voice of Lloyd. As we all know, Jillian Michaels was dropped from the cast around season 8 and was replaced by Samuel Vincent, which has received a lot of praise for, his iteration of Lloyd. And the in-universe explanation was that he was just growing up, puberty. I mean, it made sense because he was the youngest of the ninja. Now, some people have said that this excuse wouldn't really work with Cole, considering in most people's headcanons, Cole is the second oldest ninja, Zane being the oldest, of course. But Tommy Andreasen has said before that Tommy doesn't really give the ninjas ages, and it's really up to the interpretation of the viewer. So who knows, he might use this same excuse to why the voice sounds a little bit different, because I feel like it must be in there. Now, I know what you're about to say, but Luke, Kirby was not the only voice actor of Cole. That is absolutely right. There were many voice actors for the role of Cole, and that it would feel kind of pointless to do that for just the English version. And yeah, when you think about it like that, it wouldn't quite make sense, but it doesn't even have to be something incredibly major. It could be just a throwaway line like they did with Season 8 and Lloyd. It doesn't even have to be like, it could be thrown around as like a joke, essentially, like a joke line or something like that. It doesn't even have to, you can even cut that line out from a lot of like international dubs. Like, for example, the English version might have this line, but for example, let's say the Japanese dub doesn't have it or something, because I don't know how international lines and dubbing work over there, but there are interesting cases where some lines have been cut out for some reason. The one I could personally think of is in the English version, in season 5, Jay's "Whoa, Lloyd's gone through puberty" is strangely cut in the Australian version. I don't know why this is the case, but I feel like there needs to be an explanation. Otherwise, people might get confused as to why the voice sounds different. Now, this is mostly just for little kids, because I don't feel like a lot of kids keep up with like the major Ninjago news, because maybe they just don't have the time, because of, parental activities and whatnot. But who knows? I could be incredibly wrong with that. And just for, the safety of the children, I feel like we should give an in-canon voice explanation, just so that they don't really find out the actual more morbid reason of why the voice sounds different. This hope and the next hope kind of go hand in hand, but I'm gonna list them as different because why the hell not? Because they have different explanations of how I'm gonna explain this. So for this one, I feel like it needs to live up to the hype, because there is a lot of hype going into this upcoming installment this year, because we're most likely only going to get one installment this year, which is perfect sense. I mean, they have so much to do in just this one installment. I feel like it's going to take more time to do so. And personally, I want it to live up to that hype, because having something not living up to the hype is basically the worst insult you could do when writing a show or anything, any piece of media for that matter, because you don't want to set your fans up for failure. That's like one of the worst sins you could do, and hopefully it lives up to that hype, especially with all these villains coming back, potentially the end of the Benchstone Buyer arc, Nia's arc potentially being finished, and perhaps even a finality feel to it, potentially even a final, goodbye, So hopefully it does everything with respect and dignity and gives us an installment that we will remember for years to come. So for this one, I'll basically say that this installment needs to be the end, you know what I mean? It needs to be the final nail in the coffin, essentially. Because what I'm worried about is that they're going to go in the route of Day of the Departed, where they're just going to bring back all these villains, and then nothing really comes out of it, I guess. But Day of the Departed had its own slew of issues, so I guess that's not really a fair comparison. But what I'm also worried about is that this whole bring up the villains back is just really there to solve the Benchstone arc or Nia's arc, but there's no finality feel to it. It almost in a sense of makes you think, well, what was the point of bringing back these villains if you were only going to solve this or something like that? Because with this, it really feels like a final season feel, you know what I mean? It feels like something big's about to happen. It feels like something big is going to happen, and it really feels like this could be it. This could be the last, the last round, the last yeehaw, you know what I mean? Last adventure of the ninja, perhaps this iteration of the series. I mean, Tommy himself said that if he had to describe this installment in one word, it'd be conclusion. Why would it just be a conclusion to an arc when it could be a conclusion to this entire iteration of the show? And when I say iteration, because I firmly believe Ninjago is past the point where it can get worried about being canceled and not being brought back. It's basically on the same level as SpongeBob or Power Rangers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where it can have several iterations. The theme itself is not going to die, but maybe this iteration of the show will die, and that it could have another iteration, like let's say a Ninjago sequel series where it has like the Future Ninja, or even a prequel series where it could solve some remaining areas around the Serpentine War and some areas that really need to be filled. Because honestly, especially with the somewhat mixed reception Wildbrain is getting, it might be for the best that this iteration of the series should end on a high note instead of ending on a whimper. And my final hope is that this, and it kind of goes along with the last one, is that this will be the final installment for me as a fan. Because I've been with this series for so long, since I was 8 years old. And, I'm getting close to 20 years old. And sometimes in life, you gotta let go of the things you love. And, I just want to do what I feel when the time is right. I feel that I should retire when the series goes out on a high, because I originally wanted to bow out after the island, because I made myself promise that if Seabound didn't deliver to at least master the mountain quality, I was gonna leave, because I was basically on that mindset of, oh, the series is essentially doomed because it was producing mediocre content and not living up to what its old days were. But Seabound blew me out of the water, and it kept me back in for more. But, you know, with this having a finality feel, I feel like maybe the time is right for me to just step away and essentially say goodbye to the show that basically became my entire childhood in a way. And who knows? It might not be the end, because who knows? I may retire for a bit, but then it might draw me back in. Because maybe I would step away from keeping up with it a little bit, and who knows? I might decide, you know what? I'm just gonna keep up with it for maybe this one season or something like that, because why not? But, you know, I just wanted to have a finality feel so that I could finally step away and finally move on, because I feel that at this crucial time in my life where I have a lot of pressure on me to, you know, finally get a career and finally, you know, become one in society, you know, sometimes I have to let go of the stuff that really made me feel innocent, you know, before I get thrown into the wrenches of society and, you know, just become a citizen there. So, who knows? But anyways, these are my hopes for Ninjago 2022. What are your hopes for Ninjago 2022? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking the red subscribe button, and click on the notification bell to see every video that I will upload. And I'll see all you folks in the next video. Bye bye!